Tune into the Green and Growing program on Eagle Community Television with Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Agent. Holly will identify common lawn and garden issues and provide up-to-date information weekdays at noon and 9 p.m. on Channel 14. Green and Growing. Brought to you by Eagle Community Television and Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40 next to the Bickle-Schmidt Sports Complex.
As we get into the warmer months of spring and into summer, it never fails. I get lots of phone calls this time of year about leaves looking distorted, maybe leaves falling from trees, not quite looking right. And when I go on home visits to investigate, I find things like this. And as you can see, the leaves are very distorted and curled, just not a normal looking hackberry leaf, which is the type of plant I'm holding. So this is an indication to me that there's been some sort of chemical damage. In many cases, it's phenoxy herbicides such as 2,4-D or dicamba, which is commonly used in a lot of our weed killer type products that we use in our lawns and our gardens. So this is very common, unfortunately, to see at this time of year. One thing I always caution people is that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a drift occurrence that happened from your own yard, but on warmer days during the summertime, 2,4-D drift can travel many, many blocks or even miles if you live in the country, if it was sprayed on just the wrong day with a little bit warmer temperatures or a little bit of wind. And so it's very common around this area to see this type of damage. Now, there are some trees and shrubs that are extremely sensitive to these sorts of things, including the redbud tree, which tends to have curled or cupped leaves every summer, and sometimes people think that's actually how it looks. But many things like the hackberries, the shrubs in your yard, flowers in the yard, honey locust trees like are across the street here, those things shouldn't have curled or distorted or cupped leaves. And you can tell just by looking at some of these seedlings behind me, there was obviously something sprayed either in the vicinity or just around this area that could have created a slight drift and caused this sort of symptom. Now, the other thing that I've seen in recent weeks is the use of ground sterilants or those barrier type products in and around trees. And that's another thing that you really need to be cautious about, because tree roots do stretch and shrub roots do stretch beyond those plants. You need to make sure that you're not using any of those types of products, those ground sterilants or weed barrier type products, those long-lasting products around or even in the vicinity of trees. You can cause some significant damage or death to the tree. If you have damage on some of your plants in the yard and you're wondering if it's herbicide drift, one of the things that you need to look for is damage on different types of plants. That's usually a dead giveaway that it is some sort of chemical damage. If you're seeing drift damage on these little seedlings, but you're also seeing it on your tomato plants in the garden and maybe your burning bush in the front yard, that's an indication that it is certainly some sort of chemical damage when you see it on different types of plants. Unfortunately, there's nothing that can be done to fix this problem other than trying to lessen the stress on the trees or shrubs by proper watering when we are dry. Just trying to keep those trees and shrubs as healthy as you can otherwise. And hopefully, if this damage is not too severe, those things will grow out of it and continue to live and be healthy. If you have questions about damage in your landscape or in your gardens, please contact your local extension office for more information. There are certainly lots of different things that can cause damage in the landscape, but this is a real common one at this time of year just because people are out there spraying a lot of weed killers during the summer. So if you have questions, contact your local extension office. Reporting for K-State Research and Extension, Eagle TV, I'm Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Extension Agent.
Tune into the Green and Growing program on Eagle Community Television with Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Agent. Holly will identify common lawn and garden issues and provide up-to-date information weekdays at noon and 9 p.m. on Channel 14. Green and Growing. Brought to you by Eagle Community Television and Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40 next to the Bickle-Schmidt Sports Complex.